What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here back with another video. Join us now as we look at this week's edition of Raw, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including why is Brock Lesnar back in WWE, the truth behind Seth Rollins' injury, a major change coming to WWE PLs, Karrion Kross leaving, the identity behind the fourth Grande Americano, and much more. As always, we'll recap the show, but just look at the good, bad, and the downright ugly. We start off with the good as number one, the vision. New WWE World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins opened up Raw, and Rollins delved into his master plan. Rollins revealed that only he, Becky Lynch, and Paul Heyman knew about his plan to fake an injury. Rollins would then take aim at the crowd, stating that they turned on him following WrestleMania 41. And faking an injury was in essence his way of getting back at the crowd, as well as the entire locker room. Number two, LA Knight's push. Now, at last, WWE seemed to be committing to an LA Knight push. LA Knight would interrupt Seth Rollins during the opening of Raw, and LA would point out that he was the last person to defeat Rollins, and he wanted a 1v1 match for the world title on Raw. Number three, the match itself. It was later made official by Adam Pearce that the world title match was set for the main event. Pearce would then explain that due to Rollins lying about his injury, the match would act as his punishment. It's great to see an authority figure with a backbone, and this was an effective way to make the match official. The match itself was solid, and whilst nobody expected the match to end in a clean manner, it's still fantastic to see LA pushed up the card. Let's just hope he stays there. Number four, Roman Reigns appears. A Roman Reigns was initially advertised for Raw last night, so to see Reigns appear on the show during the main event took the show to a whole new level. It appears that WWE are slowly building up war games with Rollins' stable set to face Reigns, LA Knight, and CM Punk, with it being rumored that WWE will add an additional name to Rollins' faction. This opens the door for a potential 4v4 matchup with a fourth babyface joining the heroic side. And number five, a roast heard around the world. Keeping the women's Intercontinental title on Becky Lynch was evidently the right call, and once again her and the title were a prominent fixture on the show. Lynch is now set to feud with Nikki Bella, and with both being insanely over the audience, the feud makes all the sense in the world. A specific praise should be offered to the shot Lynch took regarding Bella's relationship with John Cena, as a crowd went absolutely crazy for it. The insult is quickly going viral across multiple social media platforms. I mean, after Becky Lynch said you can't see him anymore, it was over from there. Despite both women working in WWE simultaneously at numerous times over the years, a 1v1 rival has never been explored. So this is a fresh feud that breathes new life into the women's division. But that was a good one. About the bad is number one, filler galore. And sadly, whilst Raw was well-paced for the most part, there was an awful lot of filler matches and backstage segments with zero substance on the show. Pent versus Grace and Waller was a great example of this, as the match served zero purpose. Penta is currently one of the most popular names on the entire WWE roster, and he's a name that needs a substantial feud to break into the main event picture. However, there was one thing that we loved, and that was his tribute to Kung Lao. Number two, Rusev's push. Now, since Rusev returned to WWE, something has just been off. The crowd hasn't fully connected with anything he's done, and whenever he makes his entrance, the crowd is utterly silent, and they react to him like he's a complete jobber. The feud with Sheamus should be a recipe for success, but it's just not working. The matches themselves are really great, yet the crowd is firmly behind Sheamus, and they are remotely interested in anything Rusev does. The crowd was so quiet at one point during the match last night that someone in the crowd shouted, "Go back to AW at Rusev," which was kind of hilarious, and it's hard to state what the fix is here. Rusev has little to no character development, and there are theories online that the long-term plan is Rusev and Sheamus joining forces, which could be the easiest way to save Rusev's 2025 WWE return from being a total flop. And was nothing downright ugly on this week's show. The show did a decent job in the fallout from the QUITS SummerSlam, and a surprise world title match in the main event of the show certainly elevated the overall quality of August 4th Raw. What do you guys think of Raw last night? Let us know in the comments down below. Now, let's move on to the news as our first story looks at why is Brock Lesnar back in WWE? Now, Our top story today takes a look at Brock Lesnar's WWE return and how WWE have offered an explanation as to how and why Lesnar is back. Lesnar wasn't present on Raw last night, but his return was directly discussed specifically by Michael Cole. In a surprise move, Cole would provide insight into how Lesnar was brought back. I had the opportunity to sit down with WWE President Nick Khan and WWE Chief Content Officer Paul Triple HC, and I asked him a simple question. When was it determined that Brock Lesnar would return to WWE? They told me that they reached out to Brock a number of weeks ago and said, "We believe it's time for you to come home." Brock Lesnar said, "Let's do it," and here we are. And this aligns with the reports that Lesnar was cleared by WWE's legal team 4 weeks ago. It's rather interesting that WWE felt the need to offer a kayfabe explanation as to how Lesnar was back, as a lot of fans were expecting WWE to outright avoid this. There was no way WWE were going to discuss the lawsuit, especially live on Raw. So they probably wanted to reference Lesnar, and they felt like this was the best way to handle the situation. When it comes to Lesnar's feud with John Cena, it's been announced that Cena will be live on SmackDown this week, and it'll be directly addressing the Lesnar attack from SummerSlam, as no news of yet in relation to when the match will be. However, Clash in Paris at the end of the month seems like a likely PL for the match to take place. But while some fans are ecstatic about Brock Lesnar's return to WWE, others have taken a different route and have chose to boycott WWE in protest. A number of fans had taken to social media to boycott WWE by removing their subscription to either Peacock or Netflix. One social media user wrote, "Stop watching the WWE at this point. If you continue to support this company, it is a moral failing on your part." Others have snapped back and saying that people boycotting will do nothing to WWE in the long run. But Janel Grant responds to Brock Lesnar's return. But Brock Lesnar's WWE return has already led to significant controversy, as Janel Grant's legal team has directly responded to WWE's call to bring Lesnar back into the fold. Grant's legal counsel publicly released a statement which condemned WWE and stated that the return will backfire. For far too long, abuse was allowed to thrive under WWE's leadership. Instead of righting this wrong, WWE's done nothing to ensure those responsible are held accountable. This attempt to sweep misconduct under the rug will backfire. We look forward to the full set of facts, including those about Mr. Lesnar coming out in a court of law where they belong. But in the meantime, we refer you back to Janel Grant's update complaint, which outlines in detail the abuse he endured by McMahon and others who are employed at WWE. At WWE, nor Vince McMahon's legal team have yet to publicly respond to Grant's latest statement. Next up, the truth behind Seth Rollins' injury. And now that Seth Rollins' injury is confirmed to be a total work, there's a lot of questions surrounding Rollins and the pictures of him on crutches. There was no way that Rollins would wear crutches out in public for almost a month, right? Well, that's the extent that Rollins went to. Speaking on the Rich Eisen show, the reigning world champion stated that he used the crutches everywhere, so much so that they caused him significant pain. Limping around on these crutches for 3 weeks was painful, because not only did I do your show for a few days and went to the gym on crutches, I took my daughter down to the beach on crutches, dropped her off at preschool, I went to a nice steak dinner with my wife with Bianca Belair and Montez Ford on crutches. I did it all on crutches. And I tell you, it was excruciating. Rollins would then add that using the crutches that he didn't need almost caused a shoulder injury, which would naturally be an ironic twist of fate. The crutches alone were painful. I thought I was going to get a shoulder injury, a real one. I was wondering if I had to go to Birmingham legit. It was a big task. I was getting irritable. My wife was putting up with me being grumpy, but we pulled through for the greater good. Now, it's appreciated that Rollins and WWE went to such extreme lengths to pull this off. And if it hadn't leaked online just days after the initial injury, then it truly would have been one of the most shocking swerves in WWE history. Next up, the identity of the fourth El Grande Americano. Now, as of right now, for different wrestlers portrayed the infamous El Grande Americano character in WWE. Chad Gable was the first name to portray El Grande. And let's be fair, Gable put all the effort in to make the persona work. However, after a devastating injury, WWE were forced to recast the Luchador, and that's when Ludwig Kaiser stepped in. Kaiser is obviously extremely talented, but it was obvious that he was the one under the mask. But then we had a third El Grande, and in a weird twist, the third wrestler portrayed the character was former NXT UK champion Pete Dunne. But now we have a fourth El Grande Americano. During the match, Lee managed to clear house, but that was until a fourth El Grande Americano showed up. Now, the identity behind this El Grande Americano is Tyler Bate. The next Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale is definitely going to be all El Grande Americanos fighting for the real gimmick. Next up, a major change coming to WWE PLE. The SummerSlam 2025 was a major success for WWE. 100,000 paid fans across the two nights was a fantastic result for them. And it's hardly a surprise that they're now considering more toy events in the future. According to Andrew Bedalla on X, WWE are looking to introduce more toy shows in 2026 with the Rumble, Money in the Bank, and Survivor Series being strong contenders. Following the success of SummerSlam in New Jersey this past weekend, the discussion of hosting more toy events has intensified within WWE TKO. With an earlier start-finish time, impressive revenue, and attendance numbers, it's clear that the toy format resonated well with fans. TKO WWE appears to be capitalizing on this success, as plans are already underway to introduce more toy premium live events in 2026. Survivor Series 2026 and the Royal Rumble in 2027 are at the top of the list, but it looks like Money in the Bank might also be in the mix for this format. Now, this is definitely a bold move from WWE, but a lot of fans have stated in the replies to the post on X, this could be complete overkill. Now, one of SummerSlam palled in comparison to Night 2, especially with all the huge gimmick matches being on the second night. A two-night Survivor Series is rather ambitious, especially with a show not usually taking place in a stadium. Survivor Series in a stadium is a concept that WWE is starting it this year, and it remains to be seen whether the War Games concept is popular enough to warrant 50,000 people attending each respective night. Should these pellets be extended to 2 nights? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up is this a sign that Karrion Kross is done with WWE? Are there speculation following SummerSlam that Karrion Kross is officially done with WWE? This comes after it was reported that Kross's WWE deal expires this month, and Kross is publicly taking issue with Triple H ignoring the fans chanting for him following SummerSlam. But now Fightful Select have offered a report on the latest when it comes to Kross, and it turns out that Kross wasn't at Raw and his and Scarlett's WWE deals are up this weekend. Fightful Select has learned from sources backstage at WWE RAW that Karrion Kross and Scarlett are not at WWE RAW and aren't planned for the show. Beyond that, we've learned an update on their contract status. Full Select is told by a WWE higher-up that Kross and Scarlett's deals are up this weekend, and that a new WWE deal hasn't been offered to either of them. However, to our knowledge, they weren't informed that their contracts would be set to lapse. Now, it's still possible both Kross and Scarlett resign with the company, but WWE's habit of leaving contractual affairs until the last moment continues to be a bizarre and untraditional business practice. And finally, a former star shoots on WWE. Our final story today takes a look at a new post on X from Braun Strowman, who has taken aim at WWE and Triple H. Strowman would respond to Karrion Kross's issues with WWE. And as always, he didn't hold back. You know, they don't care about the fans. They care about nepotism, ass kisses, and their buddies. Strowman bad-mouthing WWE isn't anything new, as he's had a habit of it following his 2021 release. The post has obtained significant attraction, and fans are speculating what name Strowman could be referencing with his comments.